I tell them all the time, I still ain't figured this out. I'm in it for the long run, I still ain't figured this out, man. She said she got the answers, I still ain't figured this out. He say he got the cures, I still ain't figured this out, man. I'm in it for the long.
And welcome to another episode of the Crappy Awesome Podcast. It's your host, Kill C. Ray. PlatformCollection.com is where you'll find us. Thank you for tuning in, man. We got a special show today. It's almost like you guys ever see like those comic books where like they cross over? Like we almost got a crossover mashup from Christie's The Internet. My co-host, Mike Mackey, is on the show today. And I don't want to say this, Mike, because we're not talking about your co-hosting thing today. We're talking about the fact that Mike Mackey is one of the dopest producers in San Diego, and he's about to drop, I'd say your first real project, right? Really,
Yeah.
right? September 25th, the Itchy EP, right? Is dropping everywhere. You can go to platformcollection.com right now if you're listening to this as it came out. You can go over there, or if you're watching it, right under inside the description, we'll have the link, so you can go there, pick it up, listen to it. But Mike, dude, super dope to have you on.
Thank you so much.
Your first time on Crappy Awesome, man. You've graduated.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm kind of like we're breaking the fourth wall here, right?
We're breaking the fourth wall here a little bit. We're not going to talk too much about that, but if you guys follow Christie's The Internet, you probably get it. But I want to talk to you about your journey. I want to talk to you about like your beginnings. This is your first time on the show, so I really want the audience to get a good understanding of what got you to this point, right? Because there's a lot of people who would like to be in the position that you're in right now, getting ready to drop a project. You're in full-on promo mode right now, right? I'm assuming it's full-on promo time right now. It's only a few days away. Let's kind of start from the beginning of your musical journey, and maybe even a little before. First, where were you born?
Local, native San Diego. I was born here.
Okay, so you're in San Diego.
Yeah.
And both parents around growing up?
Yeah, at the time. My mom and my dad, we lived in National City kind of area, and then I believe we kind of relocated to the we were a little, I believe we were around, but we finally kind of settled in the Mission Bay, Claremont area.
Which is for people who don't live in San Diego, that's it's basically he went from the south to the north a little bit. Okay, so you moved so you moved around. What kind of kid were you growing up? Like, what would your parents say if we were asking them?
Well, it was a pretty hard. My dad was in the Navy, so my mom was with me a lot, and as a kid, I was born. I have a couple of health problems, fortunately. So,
Talk
when
about
it. I was born with an autoimmune disorder. It's called atopic dermatitis, chronic atopic dermatitis, with pruritus. And I also have asthma and
what does it mean? What does that mean? So how does it for people who might be unaware of it or unfamiliar with it? How does it manifest on like physically?
Okay. So it basically is an overactive immune system. So my body treats my own cells, skin cells, they're like things like that, as foreign bodies. So it's constantly trying to repair itself and expel it from its host. So it's a very, very rare condition. They actually found out through life that I had a genetic test done, and it's a genetic mutation. So my brother and I both share the same condition.
Yeah.
So
and let me ask you this: was it detected early, like right from birth? They already knew, or did it have was it later onset? How did it come to be?
Yeah, it was pretty much from birth. But Yeah, like the genetic stuff like that came around a lot later when the technology kind of advanced. But back in the day, it was essentially um it's kind of one of those things, and they really didn't have a lot of treatments for it.
Hmm.
They have anti-inflammatory treatments and things like that, but nothing really would respond to it because it's chronic. So I was constantly subjected to like steroid treatments, injections,
From
transfusions.
from birth, you
Yeah,
were already
from
being
birth.
treated. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of hard because it really impacted just my overall daily life. Especially with like pruritus. Pruritus is it's like involuntary itching.
Uh huh.
Kind of this tie in with the album.
Right.
So a lot of it would happen unconsciously, like when I was sleeping, things like that. So I used to have to,
Oh,
tie my hands or put things over my hands,
because you
like
could
really
damage
heavy
yourself,
gloves.
right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and it was nothing like that unfortunately would work as a child because you would rip out of restraints, heavy layers and stuff like that, and then on top of that, you also had to be conscientious of like outside irritants, triggers, and things like that that could trigger the condition. So, being involved or that goes along with that is like also a plethora of like allergies and
Allergies.
kind of things
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like I'm allergic to a lot of food allergies, but on the flip side of it, like environmentally, I'm allergic to like everything. So that includes
What
like
is that?
spray.
What is that? Break that down though. Like, what does that mean? Like,
Well, so like it's
everything's a
kind of
big statement.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because back when they used to do those kind of tests and stuff like that, and they've refined the test today now where they could do blood tests and other things. But back then they used to have to do prick tests on your skin to see what you were allergic to.
Right. Oh, I remember that. I
So
think I had that done when I was young.
yeah, I was positive. I tested positive for everything. So
Shit.
my back
So,
would have
for instance, some of the things you're in the general environment. If just give me five. Give me five things.
like grass, trees, pollen,
Holy shit.
mold, animals.
Everything.
you know,
Yeah.
so
And
that
then
was one
food
of the
wise, food wise.
oh, food wise, it was just as bad. I really had a limited diet. Um, and a lot of it was they started to find these things out, especially as I was young, because this is what prompted a lot of these tests was because I was allergic to certain foods, and my mom was even telling me I had reactions to baby formula when I
Oh
was
wow.
younger.
Wow.
And so, like, a lot of baby formula nowadays, it's made with milk, lactose, things like that. Um, and those kind of things would actually give me a reaction. So yeah, it was very difficult to say the least.
Was your brother's just as bad? Like, so was your
Yeah,
mom having
it
to deal
was.
with both of these at the same time?
Yeah, and my brother was just as bad. I mean, if not worse, I'd say.
Yeah.
There's certain things that like I'm allergic to that he's not, and vice versa. But it feels like, from my perspective, he has more of the get the short end of the stick because
Yeah. Yeah.
a little bit more prevalent. And
And now, was it
yeah,
just you and your brother growing up? I didn't
yeah.
ask you that, siblings. So just you.
So they believe like my mom. She said, yeah, I had a maybe small patches of eczema and things like that when she was
Yeah.
growing up. Um,
And your
but
dad.
they said it was a genetic. I believe they said it came from my dad's side, from the
Oh.
test.
So do you know anybody in the family who's had it? Are
Not to
are
the
aware of
degree.
anything? No.
Yeah,
No.
not to the degree that we had it.
Interesting. That's so interesting. Okay, so you're growing up, you're dealing with these health issues.
Yeah.
You said dad was there early on.
Yeah, my
Um,
parents got a divorce.
around what age were you?
Kind of hard to remember. Maybe around 10.
Okay, so young. You were young.
Pretty young.
This
Yeah.
is like
So
pre-high school.
yeah. Oh yeah, big time. So my mom was, my mom was integral in raising me the way I am. She really put a good head on my shoulders. My grandparents too. I had a really an emphasis in education. As hard as it was to maintain school with that condition, because I had to miss a lot of school, unfortunately.
Sure. I'm
And
surprised you were able to go to school.
Yeah, I tried my best. you know,
Yeah.
um, it was very difficult to say the least. Because one of the things that would go along with the condition was, like you tear yourself open and stuff, you were subjected to like skin infections and stuff like that.
Oh
So I was
wow.
constantly having to deal with skin infections, just my skin open and raw and bleeding and stuff like that. And then on top of that, like it's Southern California, so it's hot and it's
Humid.
humid,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's not the ideal climate for somebody in this condition. I mean, really, it's kind of like a bare, like when I was younger, I used to have, bare sheets with like plastic on it, because I'm allergic to dust mites and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
Um, Pillows too. I'm allergic
And
to
all
like
that stuff is
feathers.
prevalent in our state, in
Oh yeah,
California.
and
Yeah.
it's hot days, like my sweat also aggravates it. So you know, um, just constantly, it was just a constant barrage of inflammation and itching.
So what is like clinically what is the and what I was asking though is sibling wise was it just you and your brother?
Yeah, my brother
Okay.
and I are my direct siblings. I had a couple other like half brothers and stuff like that.
From
Um,
marriages from your dad?
from my dad's side, and
Yeah. Do you know
fortunately,
them?
a few of them, yeah.
A few of them. How many are there?
I think there's like 4 or 5, I
Oh,
believe.
okay. Okay.
Um, but nobody really had the the conditions like we had it,
Oh wow.
unfortunately. Um, and it kind of gave my brother and I a unique perspective on things because we spent a lot of time in the hospital. We spent a lot of time just doing treatments, and it kind of revolved around mitigating kind of the excessive damage that we would constantly be inflicting onto our skin from
Yeah.
scratching, and it was always involuntary, because like I learned to have kind of a zen like approach to it, where
Yeah.
I could almost tune it out to in certain degrees, but like, or in conditions, but I never could control like subconsciously,
Yeah. How could you?
um, and I still deal with it to this day.
So, okay, so let me ask you clinically is there what is I guess we have to say like money unlimited, what is the best procedure to deal with this? Like if there was money, if you had unlimited money, is there a procedure or is it just it is what it
Well,
is?
thankfully, down here in San Diego, they have a wonderful dermatology team.
Uh-huh.
And some of the pediatric dermatologists out here are on the forefront of research and treatment. And
Mm.
I'd say that's one of the benefits was that we kind of were here, being exposed to that, or just being able to use that resource because we were on the forefront of a lot of these medications that have come out, like today. We were on trials and things like that. A lot of topical ointments,
Yeah. And are you
oral
having
medications,
success?
and things like that.
Is there some success, or at least where you can gauge it? Like, okay, certain things are starting to work a little better than maybe previously.
Oh yeah. I'd say it was a combination of a couple things. I started using cannabis as a topical
Oh
emollient.
wow, and that works
Um,
pretty well.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I
and you're not
mean,
allergic to it. You're not allergic to
oh,
cannabis.
thank God. Just it's a
Yeah.
little shining ray of hope there.
Wow, that's
Um,
awesome. Yeah, see, that
but
means God does have a sense of humor.
yeah, but when I was growing up, like I'd say, adolescence and early 20s, was when the technology really started to catch up. Because like when I was younger, we were really only subjected to what they had advanced since, and it was really just steroids. And steroids come with a host of different side effects. That's
Sure,
the reason
sure.
why I'm so short. It stunted my growth. It gave me cataracts as a kid, so I had to have eye surgeries and
Uh
things
huh.
like that. It killed all
Just
my.
from the meds.
Oh yeah, just from the
Yeah,
meds. I mean, a lot of it
yeah.
was side effects from the medication.
What about
So
like your liver and stuff? Like, was that hard on like
yeah,
a
things like
young
that.
liver? Yeah.
liver enzymes. I was constantly having to do tests for that, and it was just I was constantly in the hospital. So I would always make like jokes and stuff, and talk to these medical assistants and stuff, and be like, I'm practically like I have just as much schooling as you guys do, because
Yeah, yeah,
I could use
yeah.
the terminology, and I know what they're talking about, and it's just being surrounded by that and immersed in it. It really gave me, an appreciation for people in this type, who have these kind of conditions. And
But
that
if
was one.
is there like if you, like I said, if you had unlimited resources and you could treat it, how would you treat it differently than you? Is there available like super expensive like treatment like stem cells? Is the
Yeah,
stem cells?
they've there's talk of stem cells being used to help
Gotcha.
treat it. Unfortunately, a lot of these treatments are abroad, right? So
Right.
they can't
Sure.
do them here. Like for example, like I had eye surgery not too long ago in January of last year, and or actually January this year, and they have a new lens, that's a biometric lens
Uh huh.
that you can essentially control with your muscles in your eye, the focal lengths and stuff like that. And they're
Wow.
already doing procedures with this particular implantation, and they wouldn't it wasn't available for me. I know, because it hasn't been FDA approved out here
Gotcha.
in
Gotcha.
America. But yeah, there's a lot of things. I've tried, there's alligators have an enzyme in their blood that regenerates.
Yeah.
So when they get wounds and stuff like that, their wounds regenerate really fast.
Yeah.
I used to use like alligator ointment.
Holy shit.
Yeah, tar. There's a big thing with like tar. They found like a charcoal and tar
Yeah, that's
would
always been
kind of
really good, right?
minimize it. So I used to have
Yeah.
to do these tar baths, oatmeal baths. I used to have to get wrapped up like a mummy from head to toe.
Good God.
I would have to cut them out. I have to get cut out every day.
How much as an adult now do you other than like normal day-to-day stuff, like how much effort is going into treating it as an adult now?
As an adult,
Yeah.
a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I got turned on to a medication just recently. They approved it a little while ago for asthma, and they found out that it actually was doing wonders for people with eczema and atopic dermatitis, other dermatological conditions. It's called Dupixent, but it's
Uh-huh.
basically a biological enzyme that you inject into your stomach every 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
after I started using that medication, it was a absolute game changer.
Oh wow. Okay.
Definitely gave me a quality of life back.
Oh wow.
Nails weren't like made of concrete anymore, and
Yeah.
it was very fortunate. It had to wean the dosage a little bit and kind of figure out a perfect regimen, because unfortunately it has side effects with your eyes and stuff like that. So dealing with already with eye surgeries and things like that, it's been kind of a delicate operation to find the right dosage where it's not necessarily going to cause permanent damage to my eyes, which already has been done over the course of years with steroids and things like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. Wow, man. Wow. So,
yeah, it's
guys,
fun.
the Itchy EP.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
why
is
it's called
I
the
wanted you that's why I wanted you to talk about that, because I know
yeah.
people might have missed that part, but that is why he called it the Itchy EP. So now let's go into like the musical journey.
Sure.
Okay, so first, was there music in your household growing up?
Yeah, my mom really used to listen to a lot of oldies, a lot of soul music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I really gravitated, because it was really hard being an indoor kid, you know. Um I was always listening to music, and
Yeah.
music was kind of my escape. And that was kind of where it started,
Yeah. Just having it around, kind of.
just having it around, and I had a affinity for music, and I just,
Did
it's
anybody in the
funny,
house play, or was anybody in the house artists?
not really.
Yeah.
my mom would sing and stuff like that, but nothing like in that regard.
Yeah.
Um, but that's where I kind of just found this love for music, and even remember early as a kid, I remember hearing something, and I just had these visions of like, man, I want to do that. I want to make music, and
Yeah.
it just really got inspired at a young age, and it's always something I kept kind of on the burner, on the back burner, I guess, and
Yeah.
I'm always gonna get around to it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, and eventually I did it. I wanted to just do it and see what
Well, okay, so what was that first step? Like the first step of where, and was it hip hop?
Yeah, actually, I used to freestyle and stuff like that. I used to do performing arts and stuff and
Yeah.
acting. So one of like the warm up techniques, to get your vocals and stuff working, warm up, was like freestyling, right?
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine, Ruben, we essentially were like the only cognizant rappers, I guess.
Yeah.
We had a love for hip hop, so we kind of embraced that aspect of these rehearsals.
So you entered hip hop like through freestyling.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I hadn't made any beats. I just liked hip hop and shit. And essentially, I used to have to go to these treatments constantly every day, so I was constantly walking back and forth, going these treatments. So like, during the downtime, like if I was in the waiting rooms and stuff, I had like a little app on my phone, and this is like 2010, maybe
Yeah.
2011, and I was just working it out and figuring out the process, and
As far as
I
like
just started,
producing, like you were just playing
yeah,
with the
I was
beat,
just
kind of
playing
like
with
one of those
samplers
beat making
and
apps.
yeah,
Yeah.
this basically a sampler or a drum machine. I would make
Yeah.
I'd make up little rhythms, and then I'd freestyle to them, on my walks to the treatment. And I used to have to do these treatments with UV, so like I would be subjected to this UV machine, right? And I had to be naked, and
Uh huh.
I'd be in there by myself and stuff. So I just like have my phone, and I just play the beats and just kind of freestyle to myself and shit like that. And then
But
I
no
just
thought at this point yet, like, oh, this is something I'm gonna do. Like I'm gonna make this into a
oh, I
living.
had
It was
no,
it
yeah,
was
I
still
had no idea.
just this was just therapy, really, right?
Yeah, it was really just a
Yeah.
real therapy for me to just kind of
But
keep
you
me
were like
sane
low key,
and
kind of honing your skills though, unknowingly, right? Like subconsciously, you were
oh yeah.
learning beat patterns. You were like writing beats. Yeah.
Yeah, a big time. A friend of mine, I told him I used to start with like Hammerhead. He was like, "Man, I used to use that way back in the day." Like he's like, "You're really like you're doing it yourself because like things like that I was using Hammerhead, I was using Audacity, just doing just little things like, and I had really, I had an idea of like DAWs and Pro
Yeah.
Tools, and I saw the pinnacle of it, but it
And
was
at this time,
really
no mentors,
unobtainable.
no teachers.
No, I was just all self-taught. I was
Yeah.
watching just other people do it, and then I really would try to reverse engineer beats that I
Yeah.
heard, and just having such a extensive knowledge of like music, especially when like hip hop came out, especially like the golden era hip hop. I remember just recognizing all these samples, going, "Oh, that's that one song my mom likes," or this is one song, and I would always try to figure out how they essentially attain that sound, and that's kind of how it became. It was just really like a curiosity factor of like, how did you do this, and
Okay. So let's move
reverse
forward.
engineer.
Let's move forward. You're starting to play with this more. I'm assuming as you do when you first jump into stuff like this, you can kind of have like these little level ups where you're starting to understand like, oh, I'm getting a little better at this, or things are just easier, right? Like you're
Yeah.
starting to get it together. Or when do you have the thought, or what happens, or what story revolves around the thought of you going, hey, maybe it's time to show some other people this stuff that I'm doing. Like I want to, because you
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying, Mike. Like that's always a big jump. Because I know it was a big jump for me, like playing and then
Mhm.
getting to the idea of like, oh wait, I want other people to hear what I'm playing.
Yeah.
Like it's a big, because it's always scary. It's never not scary. First of all, it's
Mhm.
always scary for everybody, I think, except for Vel the Wonder. I think she told me she was dope from birth. But
Yeah.
but like, did you have? What was that? What was that moment? What was that? What was going on in your life when you decided I got to take this out of my head and into the world?
It was a risk.
Yeah,
I had a background in performing arts and acting and stuff,
yeah,
and unfortunately, it didn't get to pan out as much as I liked because of my condition.
yeah,
I was constantly having to battle my condition under like
yeah.
makeup,
No time
lights.
basically to be a full time
Yeah,
actor.
and it was
Yeah,
just, it was not conducive.
yeah,
But one of the things that really stayed with me was, risk and you got to take chances and things like that, or you're never gonna find. Being on stage, I was shy, but then when I was out on stage, when I was performing, that was the only time I really felt free, and I loved the reception I was getting. And then when I started doing music, like just on my own, in my head, and by myself, eventually, I was just starting to upgrade my equipment. I started
yeah,
doing it on a laptop. I started doing it with a MIDI controller. But at this point, I had no audience other than my wife. Really,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
she was my litmus for is this good? Is this not good? I mean, even my homeboys, I never like had the confidence to put it out there like that, and
Wait,
it
wait,
was
wait.
always.
Out of respect for your wife, we should probably fill in that part. What point did you become a husband?
Hmm. I met my wife in performing arts school, 2005.
Oh, in performing arts school. That's okay. So
Yeah,
she
we
was
were. She
kind
was
of
an actress
pursuing the same
too.
thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
she was
so
directing and acting.
you guys kind of so she's watched the growth. Like
Oh
she's
yeah,
been she's been witness to it the whole
jump
time.
right in for
Yeah.
15 years. We got married we met in 2005. We got married in 2015.
Okay, so when you got married in 2015, were
Yeah.
you all how far into the music were you?
Um,
If you had to gauge it.
I was pretty. I wouldn't say it was really far into, but I was still just toiling around,
Yeah.
in my free time.
So did she know at that time, like, oh, this is something he wants to do, or was she just kind of watching it like you, like, oh, let's see where
I
this
was,
goes?
she knew like I had, I needed to have that like creative outlet, and
Yeah,
I
because she's a
hadn't really.
creative too.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
she could see like I just, she knew by the way I used to act and the way I used to carry myself on stage that I was really just kind of holding on to this like dragon, if that's a good
yeah, yeah, yeah,
analogy. Like I wasn't unleashing it really, and I essentially started just kind of playing stuff for her. And I'd play stuff for some other people, but it was really, really rare that I would
yeah,
ever show anybody any of my material.
yeah.
um, I essentially got really inspired. I'll tell you what really the real change um, was this video called um, Secondhand Sure Shots, okay,
Uh
with
huh.
DJ Nobody, Ross G, um,
Oh wow.
J Rock is on there, everyone from Project Blowed.
Yeah.
And those are my real first introduction into that, really. Um, I must have watched that video 10,000 times. I
Wow.
dissected everything because I saw these producers, right? And these are guys, they would go right back home. They went and they took a record. Essentially, the premise of the video was they all took a selection of records from the thrift store, went home, produced something with it.
Yeah.
And, they kind of went through their process a little bit, and it was a little different for each one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I really just, I gravitated toward that. It really enamored me in a way that never before.
What what
I'm
what
like I
was it
said,
about it? Was it like the? I mean, because why did it speak to your experience in life at that time? Like, why was it
I
something
don't
that
know. It's a good question.
you found because you found some solace in it a little bit, right?
Oh, I mean, it was yeah. I just it was the curiosity, and because these four producers, right? Essentially, they took these, the samples and they flipped them to something amazing, and I was just like, it really reinvigorated that curiosity, that I used to
Yeah.
have as a kid. And even with the music I was making now, I was like, oh, okay, I see where I can make adjustments, make it, how do I get it to sound like that,
Yeah.
and I just everything. I watched it so many times,
Yeah.
and that was really when I watched that. I saw some of the equipment that they were using. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get an SP404. Right, my
Yeah.
wife gave me. She got
Having
me an
no
SP.
idea what it really did or anything yet.
Yeah, a couple videos. I saw some artists using them and stuff, and I
Uh
was
huh.
like, oh, okay, cool. I'll give it a shot. I mean, this is just my first foray into any kind of equipment musically, right? And
Yeah.
my wife got it for me Father's Day, I think 2016 or
Uh huh.
17.
Oh wow.
Um, and essentially, you know, I would just play every day and practice on it every day. I'd watch the videos and I'd try to
Yeah.
mimic what they were doing with
How
the
proficient were you
SP404.
with it at the beginning? Like, how long did it take for you to maneuver through it?
Maybe.
Because I know young artists love to like want to hear that because like they might be dealing with it and they're like, "Fuck, I
Yeah.
don't get it. What do the
The
buttons
learning
do?"
curve was kind of hard, at
Yeah.
first. I researched the hell out of it
Yeah.
and
YouTube.
hit YouTube
Yep.
videos. I watched tutorial everything you could think of,
Shut
and
the Zelly vibes.
yeah,
Yeah.
shut the Zelly vibes, man. Um, and that was one of the things that I just was determined. I was like, you know what? I didn't want to get overwhelmed with it. I didn't want to, because I still had that love for it, and I still really had that, just that desire to really own that sound and to get my sound the way they were sounding, because that's
Yeah. Yeah.
hope to me. And so I was just, I was not, it couldn't sway me. I was just like, I'm not gonna get disheartened about it. I did have some times I was like, man, why am I not getting it? Get frustrated. But
Yeah.
I just pushed through that shit, dude. I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna learn this. I'm gonna figure it out. You know,
Let me ask you something, Mike, because you have
sure.
you do a really good job of breaking this stuff down. Like, did you when you say like I was getting frustrated, I thought I wasn't getting it. In
Hmm.
retrospect, what was happening? Because you know what I'm saying, like there's probably somebody right now who's looking at SP404 and going like, I need to just take this back. Fuck this. I don't know how to use it. What was it
Really?
now when you look back at it? Go like what was frustrating? What were you doing wrong, or what could you have been doing better to not be frustrated?
Um, I think it was, it just at the time it was not realizing I was growing at the same
Yeah,
time,
gotcha.
with it. And as much as I was getting frustrated, right? Because my wife, she's like, she's not really into hip hop really all that
Uh
much,
huh.
right? Not like I am. And she was telling me like, hey,
That's probably a good thing, by the way.
you're getting better at this, right? I mean, she
Yeah,
was my litmus test for. I was like, does it sound dope? Let me play you
yeah,
something. She wasn't critiquing it in her head like I was, right? And she was starting to tell me like, hey, this is pretty good, I like this, I like that. And eventually that turned into like, instead of just having my wife as my audience in my kitchen, because I was doing this all in my kitchen for a year. I mean, it's just maybe 6 months to a year.
yeah.
Um,
Before anybody else heard it, really.
before anybody heard it. I
Wow,
mean,
wow.
maybe my neighbors,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But I would just do it every day, and essentially, he was like, you want to play out. At the time I was playing bass with a friend of mine. We would just jam out and we'd do like classic rock, kind of like stoner rock and stuff like
In
that.
front of people, or just like
Oh,
garage
just
band
jam,
type?
a little
Yeah,
garage kind of
yeah,
thing. And my wife would sometimes sit in on that, but like those guys really were traditionalists, right? They
uh
didn't
huh.
like hip hop at all. Digital music was not real music to them if it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
analog,
Sure.
so it wasn't like I had an area to like, you know, a gymnasium for myself. It was
Right.
essentially like kind of honing maybe like the bass rhythms and things like that, and structure and song, music theory and things like that. But for the most part, it was really hidden. I really kind of, even to my friends, I was like, hey, man, you want to hear something? And I got some good reception here and there, but it really wasn't there. That wasn't
Yeah.
what they were feeling. Um, so I eventually I kind of just took the risk. I took took a really big risk, and I went and did a show. I had no intentions of playing shows, and no
Yeah.
intentions of doing open mics, nothing like that.
Was it just like a curiosity, like you just wanted to know, like
Yeah, and
you wanted to
I
figure
kind
out
of, I
whether you
really
were good or
wanted
not,
to,
right?
yeah, essentially,
Yeah.
I wanted to see, just because I trusted my wife's opinion, but she's one person. I wanted
Right.
to see what some other people were saying, and I landed at this place. It was open mic for electronic musicians, right? Called Open Oscillator.
Uh-huh.
Shout out to Open Oscillator.
In San Diego?
Up in here in San
Uh-huh.
Diego, Delta Sign. They do a lot of modular synths and completely, 180 degrees from what I was
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
I think at the time I was the only person playing hip hop, and maybe the only person with a 404 SP 404.
And was this
And
just because this was the only stage you knew of that you could probably get on?
yeah, I mean, I had
Yeah.
no idea how do we even approach it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I didn't really. I knew some musicians, but they all played rock music and stuff, and a couple other jazz musicians. So it wasn't like I wouldn't really fit into that. And I just happened to see this ad for Open Oscillator, and I remember one of the things that said, like, people who have, like, bring your equipment, like drum machines and samplers. And I was like, I have a sampler. I was like, I can go, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Technically, and I tell you, it was disastrous, right? The first
Wow.
couple times I played, it was absolutely disastrous because
Why? Why?
I didn't mix my samples correctly.
Oh,
I
right, right,
didn't
right.
take into consideration that my laptop speaker essentially wasn't gonna be a sound system in a club.
Right.
These things never even
Occurred to you.
occurred to me.
Yeah.
I just
Of
had
course. Why
this
would they?
dream.
Yeah.
And it didn't deter me at all. I was like, I'm coming back, and I'm fixing whatever,
Yeah.
issue I need to fix, and I'm coming back, and I'm gonna hit you guys with something heavy.
Because let
And
me ask you this. You didn't, with your background on stage, the stage part wasn't the actual scary part, right? It was more of whether or not what I'm making
yeah,
is going to speak to anybody, right? Like standing
yeah,
on
it
the
was
stage wasn't a big deal to you.
not really. It was, being vulnerable in front
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
strangers,
Yeah.
and making them feel something. And so I
So
wasn't
when you
like,
say disastrous, I want to talk more about this part. Because again, like I said, we get a lot of young listeners, a lot of people that are trying to maneuver their way, get in the positions that you're in, and the positions that other people on the show have been in. Are you, when you say disastrous, why? Like, why do you choose those words to say? Like, what
oh, I
was
mean,
wrong with it? Like, what did the audience boo you? Was it like what? I mean, what was happening?
not so much like, it wasn't really maybe a silence, as my
Oh
music's supposed to
no!
play,
Right,
and
right, right.
you kind of can hear maybe some semblance of something coming in from, like, that speaker over there,
Yeah,
but it wasn't mixed well, wasn't mixed correctly. And
right. It wasn't
uh,
enjoyable for the audience.
it was a nice. I mean, I'm amongst all the lights and all the grandeur. They bring you up onto the thing, and I'm also playing in this set with amazing electronic artists.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
That
John
know what they're
O'Wells,
doing.
Drone Rock, right? Yeah, like these guys, Delta Sign. These guys are just like melting your face with the music they're playing,
Wow.
right? And everyone's like,
Do you think that the booker was the booker a promoter? Do you think that once you got on, they regretted just inviting anybody? Were they
uh,
like, oh shit?
I don't know. I
Because
had a
how
good
did you
attitude.
get on? Like, how did you get? Like, how did you even get on the bill? Like,
I showed up early, right, with my equipment before everyone else. I introduced
very
myself to the
key
guy.
bars. Listen, people. Wait, say that again. You showed up early, right?
Showed up early. I was.
Yep.
This is when I was punctual.
Bars.
I showed up early,
Yep.
and I introduced myself, and I didn't even know these guys either, right? They're complete
Yeah.
strangers. I don't know none of the lingo, none of the terminology.
Yeah.
I was like, I
And they
have this.
don't know how experienced you are.
Yeah, they had no
Yeah.
idea. What's your name? Mike Mackey. Write your name on the thing, and right, they call me up, and it was just it happened a couple times, you know. I mean, it happened. I'd say like I think 2 or 3 times before I came back, and I absolutely just like brought the house down, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And it was such a, it was just such a great feeling because like I wanted to. It wasn't about like the venue and winning over the crowd. It
yeah,
was about winning over myself and
yeah.
pushing past that,
Proving
like
you could do it.
proving that I could do it.
Yeah.
Because the first time I had to drive home, right? My wife asked me,
So you had to
"How did
sit in it.
how did your show go?" Like,
And that's the last
got
thing you
on
want to
tape,
talk about. Yeah.
right? They taped it, so like,
Oh no.
it's but yeah, that was my foray really into live performance, at least with music. And I fell in love with it. I was
And then
really
you,
happy.
but there you were like, were you the only hip hop head really?
Yeah. Oh, 100% at
Okay.
first.
So
Slowly
the
but
inevitable
surely.
next part of this journey is now I got to take it to people who actually might know what they're talking about when it comes to what I'm making,
Yeah,
right? Because I
exactly.
gotta imagine that the walls are a little down more if you're at least proficient in hip hop
Hmm.
in a crowd that doesn't necessarily listen to hip hop. They're probably gonna judge it okay, right? They're gonna be like, well,
Yeah.
at least it sounds good, like so. The next inevitable step was for you to try to reach out to a hip hop community. Were you aware of one at this point?
No, I had
No.
no idea. Like this, like I was not in the music scene at all out here
Yep.
locally. I knew of like certain areas you could go, like Canes or something, or the Stats, I guess, right,
Yeah.
for open mics. But I mean, outside, and that was some of my first kind of thoughts. Like, do I go to the Stats? Where do I go? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was very fortunate to land at Open Oscillator and get such a well reception, because they were like, hey, come back next time, try again,
Yeah.
and they didn't were like, yeah, this ain't for you, right?
That's dope.
And so I started building a rapport with all the guys there. Again, I'm the only one playing hip hop in a room full of people just expecting like acid house music and
Yeah.
like really fucking real electronic music, right? Guys are using modular synths and stuff. And my buddy told me, he's like, Delta Sign. He said, hey man, I don't know if you ever heard about, they do the Hip Hop Wednesdays at the AC Lounge.
Yeah.
You should go. I was like, sweet, let's go, right? I was like, hey man, come with me. I was like, I don't know if I could have the second, like a repeat of what happened to
Yeah.
Open Oscillator now with the
Yeah.
hip hop crowd, right?
Yeah.
Because like this is the crowd that's actually gonna determine if it's good or not. And we went.
But were you
Um,
all in from the suggestion? Were you like, yes, I got to do that, or were you like, I don't
I had
know?
a little bit of a little bit of hesitation because I was getting somewhat of a good reception at this this
Yeah.
electronic show.
So why ruin a
And
good thing?
exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't necessarily know if I wanted to throw myself back into the fire like that. And I was like, oh, let's just do it, right? So I went and I showed up on like a hip hop house day where
Yeah.
they didn't do open mics.
Right. Right. Right.
So I
Right.
have all
Right.
my equipment with me, and I tried the same approach. I showed up early, and
For people who
uh,
don't know, he's referring to now, which is now the legendary Hip Hop Weds,
yeah,
run by Kali. Shout out to Kali, Hip Hop Weds Bars Weekly. And he showed up on a night where we hosted an event called Hip Hop House, which was just booked acts. We had open mic night, but that wasn't it. So you show up to that. You took your equipment, right?
oh yeah,
Yes.
I walk in right to a packed club,
Uh
with my SP44 still in the box, right? I come in
huh.
and I got cords around my neck and stuff, and
Yeah.
I see DJ Root, on the turntables,
Right. Who was
and
just
he
on Crappy Awesome recently. Yeah.
gives me this look like, bro, what are you doing? Like, like, and so my friend Delta Sign's like, hey man, this is my buddy Mike Mackey, he does hip hop and stuff, and you want to try to do the thing. He was, I'd say he was really nice about it, but he was like, look, his hip hop house. You know, he kind of explained it to me. He's like, come
Yeah.
the, you know, second Wednesday or whatever.
Yeah.
And this was like the third Wednesday. So I had to wait in a whole another like 3 weeks, right? Before
Yeah.
I could do this again.
Oh shit.
So I
How'd you feel? Were you kind of let
Oh, I
down?
was
Were you like,
completely let. I was like, "Oh, okay, right, kind of, because it took a lot of, you know, I didn't want to have a repeat as
right,
mortifying as it was, right?
right.
Able to push through it, but I wasn't really ready to like kind of do that again.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, you know, I'll wait. And so I came back again like the next Wednesday, and I saw the show, right? I was blown away, right? He's just like the pinnacle, the upper echelon of rappers out here in San Diego,
Yeah.
production. And one of the things I was noticing, right, they were constantly playing like a stream of all the local videos
Yes.
and you know the
Yep.
residents, the local artists, and these guys were just like phenomenal, right? So I'm sitting here just like, I am gonna die, dude. Like these guys are just gonna boo. Like this is the crowd that's gonna boo me off stage. I'm not feeling confident at all. Like I was
Yeah.
just like, man, I don't think I'm gonna do it, right? I even told him, I'll just stick to playing open oscillator every 3 months.
Wow. You
You
said that
know,
while you were there?
I was just, you know, I was
Yeah.
contemplating it. I was
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, man, because I had to wait. You know, I had to go to 3 shows before I could at least perform. You
Oh
know,
wow.
at
So that's
Elbow
probably
Room.
making it worse then, right? Because you're taking in. Yeah, and those are all booked acts, and they've all like done
Super
shows, and
amazing, dude.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
like Callie the Dreamer was like there, right? I mean,
yeah,
just dudes were just on a whole nother level than I was even aware of. And right, they open up the freestyle at the end of the shows, right? So I go, okay, you know, maybe I'll try my freestyle game. You know, my freestyle wasn't that
yeah.
bad at the time, and I was still
Yeah, I
kind
think I
of
remember.
refining
Yeah, I remember that you freestyled before you did anything.
it.
Yeah,
Right, I get up there and you know I'm freestyling along the likes of like Rick Scales and you
yeah,
know
yeah,
Odessa Kane,
yeah,
you know, poetic, right? And just
yeah,
dudes out here were just on like you know just a plateau that it couldn't even achieve, you know.
yeah,
And I was just like, okay, look, I was like, it's either you got to make it or you're not, right? Like you're gonna do this, you're not gonna do it, right?
yeah,
And so I was like, I'm not gonna let all this deter me. I'm gonna come back for Elbow Room. Hopefully, don't get all my cables right at that time. I had to make sure all my mixes were straight, and
yeah,
so I go to Elbow Room, right, and they introduced me. I met you, I believe you and Parker,
yeah.
um, you know, and had to
I was
set up
doing
real
your sound.
fast.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had to set up real fast, right, and you know, I tried to set up as fast as I could and stuff, and you know, it was a historical night, I guess. You know, I
yeah.
dropped some good stuff and
I
people were
guess I could
feeling it,
take.
right?
I should probably take it from there. So,
Sure.
he, he basically Mike Mackey. What we were doing was we were throwing an event called Elbow Room. Me, Root, Parker, hosted by Hip-Hop Weds, the brainchild of Kali, by the way. And this is it's a really cool thing to be talking to Mike about this, because the idea that Kali brought to fruition and brought to reality was all with the idea that it would produce people like Mike, and that's why um, he started it in the first place. You know, he wanted to find more talent. He wanted to bring the talent together. And so Mike, the night he plugs in at Hip Hop Weds, we're all kind of wondering. I don't remember if you were, because you'd come in there after work sometime, and you'd be like dressed in work attire. I don't know if that
Yeah.
was one of the nights, but because Mike would be in a tie sometimes. He'd walk in a tie and then rock a set. But so he plugs in, and me and Root, as we do many times, because at Elbow Room was kind of like the place where you earned your stripes. If you
Yeah.
wanted to get booked on Hip Hop Weds or I mean, one of the book nights of Hip Hop Weds, like Hip Hop House, you kind of had to come through Elbow Room. And what that consisted of is 5-minute slots for rappers, 10-minute slots for producers, and you'd sign up. First person to sign up is how it would go.
Hmm.
And I think we would average maybe 10 to 15 acts a night. So it was very fast paced. It was fat. You had to get in, you had to plug in, and you didn't have time to like, oh, I'm gonna warm them up a little bit. I'm gonna play some song. You had to you had to bring your heat.
Yeah.
And no bullshit. No, I mean, now I am definitely biased, but at that time I was not biased at all. I didn't know Mike from the next guy. Um, and he absolutely destroyed it and caught us off guard, kind of, in the fact that the Hip-Hop Weds staff was at least like, that's always a very gratifying thing, because that's the point of us doing this. We don't want to throw whack shows, right? Like, we want artists that we book to come in and really bring it. And he did that. And yeah, that it became a historic night for us because Mike was amongst that first class, we call it, like the first class that came through Elbow Room that has all now since gone on to do bigger stuff. Nemi, Yazzie, like all these people that have come through there. Box Cutter Max, like a bunch of people. Oh Poetic, like, yeah, there a bunch of people have come through Elbow Room and now have gone on to do more. But Mike was amongst that first class, and I would say one of the first producers in that class as well. That came back and became an Elbow Room regular. We made him a regular, which meant like Mike could eventually just walk in and plug in if he wanted to. Like, he started to get that level. But it is cool to hear the story behind it, because especially for artists who are listening and maybe they're in that place where Mike was, where they're like, fuck, do I want to test what I'm doing to the ears of people who have more educated ears on the sound, right? Like, they know, they've heard other acts. They've heard some of the best acts, in fact. Because for sure, what Kali had pulled off was a culmination of literally the best acts in San Diego were coming through Hip-Hop Weds. And so it was very easy at Hip-Hop Weds to have an audience of artists who were touring artists. And they were watching you for the first time get up there. And Mike, you did amazing. You smashed it. And then you came back, and Mike for sure has had, I mean, we all agreed on this. We still agree on this. Mike definitely had some of the highlighted moments as a producer there at Hip-Hop Weds, because he eventually went on to play at a lot of the different events and became a regular. But like, did you, on that first time you played, just take me to the moment you pressed stop. Like, your set is over, you press stop. What was the feeling you had? Like, were you able to take it in? Were you still like writing? Like, was you still too nervous? Because the audience exploded. The audience was like, "Yo, they gave it up to you." People freestyled on your shit.
I was shaking.
Yeah, you were shaking. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be along the lines of maybe Open Oscillator, right?
Yeah.
Go up, I play my little set, and then on to the next guy, right?
Yeah.
There's little to no, crowd interaction.
Yeah.
I had no idea, right? Rick Scales is going to jump on my beat and freestyle, right?
Yeah.
Him and Odessa Kane start trading bars. Him and Nemi start trading bars back and forth. I mean, it blew my mind. I was shaking the whole time I'm playing too, right? Like, I was like, please don't make a mistake. Please don't make a mistake. Because, that was another thing too. I wouldn't say still unrefined, but like the style that I was trying to achieve was like a live performance in a set, and not necessarily just go up and press play and say, hey, okay, what do you guys think of this beat? Let me play the next one, press play. I'm chopping the beats up live,
right?
I'm in tune, like I'm really focused, right? If I'm off time at all a little bit,
you're gonna notice.
So like, I tried to play it like an instrument, you know what I mean? And I was super nervous. Like, I was shaking because I'm like, I could hear what's going on, but like,
I don't think you looked up. You rarely look.
I'm playing, right? Because I'm in the zone, and I'm just like, please don't make a mistake. Like, these guys are absolutely murdering this beat, and it was just the reception afterwards, man. I couldn't believe it. It was something that I hadn't felt in such a long time. And I was just like, I'm home. Like, this is it for me.
Yeah.
Like, I know, right? Every Elbow Room after that, I showed up, and DJ Rude will attest to this. I showed up first, right? First, second, sometimes, just so I can get on that list. just so I can make, hey, can I see your phone? Let me put myself on the list. Cause like, I just knew like this is the place to be, and I'm
Yeah.
always thanking my buddy Delta Zine, man, um, for exposing me to that. Cause I had no idea, and
Wow.
it was like, it changed my life. You guys all changed my life. Like, I, it's been about a little over, I'd say about a year now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just I had no idea. I had no idea this where I would be putting out an album in a year from that. Like,
Yeah.
I had no idea that like Kali booked me on another show, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, it's real fast paced. Like, you gotta,
Sink or swim, really.
sink or swim.
Yeah.
And I never was like, oh yeah, I didn't let it get to my head. I was just like, I, I'm, I guess gotta make sure it doesn't sound whack. You know what I mean? And it became like a highlight of the week for me. Like, I was just like, everybody could not wait to go to Hip Hop Wednesdays.
You know what?
You know,
And say hip hop wins, by the way, Mike.
oh yeah, Hip Hop Weds.
Before Kali yells at us. Dude, but you know what? You know how I knew when you had kind of graduated? This happened with Gene Flow as well. Shout out to
Yeah.
Gene Flow. Is when they would go to you guys. Carino, there was a few people where they would go to you guys. We would go to you guys during technical difficulties sometimes. We'd be like, oh shit, Root's computer's not working. Hey Mike, you want to play some beats? And
yeah.
and I knew once you got on that list, that was like oh yeah, they're good. They're good because they're regulars now. You know what I mean? You know what? It's weird. I know you and I have talked about this. It very much is, and I'm super proud about being a part of that at all. Like, it was very much like people talk about the Comedy Store in LA for comedians, where there was a coming of age there. There was a way to kind of work your way up the scale, and once you became a regular, it really was super fun. Like, us regulars had a lot of fun because you were able to help mold the night. You know what I mean? Like, you knew at a certain point. Now, once you started getting booked and you became a regular, you knew how to add to the vibe. Like, and that was really awesome to watch. Like, producers and rappers just level up. Like, oh yeah, you thought I had a good set last time? Wait till this. Or people would save a beat and like, I'm playing this at Hip-Hop Weds. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was so inspiring to watch, and it was cool to. Yeah, I think that you're part of one of those, again, one of those classes at Hip-Hop Weds that came out of that San Diego underground that is now kind of etched in history. You know what I mean? And it's crazy to, again, if you're an artist and you're like, maybe you're at that point and you're like, man, I can't find a community. I don't know how to reach out. Like, guys, I don't know if there is a better advice than to just get out of your own way. You know what I mean? Like, you got to kind of just get out of your own way. You got to kind of get past that whole idea of that you're going to be judged. Just accept that you're going to be judged, and know that no matter what judgment, good or bad, you're not going to quit. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, you know? And I think the way Mike approached it was, one, in a very professional way. He really was that guy who showed up early. He made sure that he wasn't going to miss a spot. Yeah, I think that would have crushed you. That would have crushed you had you gone there and not been able to sign up, or because he looked so forward to doing that. And then once he learned his audience, that was another thing. That's another thing for producers who are maybe starting to book shows now. If you're one of those producers, you do have to learn your audience. There is something important about that. I've seen a ton of producers come through, and there's only few that I can mention that would seem to care about what the audience wanted. You know what I mean? Like, you cared. Like, I know once you had freestylers or certain rappers were in there, you pulled shit out of your bag. Like, you started pulling shit out like, oh, okay, I know they're going to like this, or the vibe is they're going in this direction. I'm not going to ignore that and play some shit that doesn't fit that. I'm going to play with the vibe. And then it did feel live. You know what I mean? It did. It felt like you were playing, you were the band. And that's super rare with producers, man. And much props to you, dude, because
thank you, man.
I know it wasn't easy. I was there. I watched it. I saw it firsthand. I know it wasn't easy. And I know that the audience was it, because here's the worst thing that could happen to you at Hip Hop Wins. People go outside and smoke while you play, right? Like that really was it. That's nobody wanted that to happen during their set, because we would watch it happen during certain people's sets, and it sucked. You know, it really did suck, because you were rapping to the bar at a certain point. And I'm talking literally at Hip Hop Wins when people went out, because everyone knows each other. So when one person decided, like, I don't want to watch this anymore, I'm gonna go outside, you could literally empty out the club. I've seen it happen many a time.
Yeah.
Luckily, it never happened to you. In fact, people, I saw the opposite. I saw people going outside and go like, hey, come inside, Mackey's about to play. Because people, especially the rappers, were like, oh, it's about to be dope. I'm about to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
so that was amazing, man.
I remember Rick was always like, I'm going to finish the cigarette real quick. I got to get back in there, man. Make sure I get it, you know, because like you said, especially with the rappers and such the high caliber rappers, they knew like that was, you know, I had beats that they all could freestyle along, you know, and I wasn't like, I didn't really try these experimental stuff. I knew you'd get them with like, you know, the bread and butter kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, it changed my life, to be honest with you. I'm so like, I'm, you know, forever grateful for you guys giving me that opportunity and, you know, facilitating such an environment for, you know, artists like myself. Because like, you know, before that it was, you know, I had no idea, and it was so welcoming. You guys could have really been like, yo, kick rocks, like, you know, this is our little scene right here, and you guys welcomed me with open arms, you know, and it was just amazing. Like it really, you know, it meant so much to me. Like,
yo,
changed
man,
my life.
yeah, I mean, and obviously, I mean, it pays back, because I got an amazing friend out of it. I got, you know, and it's, I can't say enough and enough salutes to Kali, because like I said, I think you are like a living testament to like what he wanted when he started this, you know, like he wanted to see talent rise up, and talent like take it serious, and talent like, you know, really, so that the scene meant something more than just people playing. You know what I mean? Like he wanted to level it up, and we knew that was not going to happen unless a new school of artists were allowed to come through. You know what I mean? And you're right. We did know a lot of the heavy hitter guys in San Diego, and we could have just said that was enough. But but that doesn't build a scene. You know what I mean? Like what builds a scene is the future. And you guys were the future, and now you guys are currently playing in the game, and that's amazing to watch. You've got this project coming out. Talk a little bit about what went into making the project, why you decided to do this. I know the opportunity kind of was presented to you as well. Like, talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was I was really happy with how this came about. Parker Meridian was you know, very, very instrumental with he executive produced the album, and he has been a great mentor in you know, just giving me the right tutelage and the right insights on how it works. You know, it's my first time, you know, venturing into this foray of this kind of stuff, and it was just, you know, essentially I was always kind of had like an idea of putting an EP together, some kind of mixtape. It's never really, you know, I was always kind of making more beats and making more beats, and it was always evolving, you know. And I essentially got the opportunity through Vocal Cord Records. You know, they hit me up. A good friend of mine, he goes Low Bias. Used to go by Shrimp Boy.
Shout out to Shrimp. Who killed it many times too at Hip Hop Weds.
We met at Open Oscillator, actually. You know, because he essentially, right, he does hip hop and lo-fi hip hop and stuff, but he also plays electronic music, right?
Yeah.
And so he was like, "Hey, man, like I play, you know, I use an SP404, and you know, we really bonded over that, and you know, we really tried to swap techniques, and you know, it was really nice support from him. And then, you know, to see like where he's at, you know, he's built his brand, and you know, he has Vocal Cord Records now. You know, so he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, you want to put out a release?" I was just like, "Hell yeah, man!" Like, you know, I've been wanting to put out this release with Parker and Parker Edison. I'm sorry, I called him Park Meridian earlier. Shout out to Parker Edison, man. Is, you know, the dude is just beyond, like, you know, the wisdom that he gives. You know, he just it's amazing. And it's just I'm so fortunate to have somebody like that on my team and really kind of helping me, guide me throughout the process
Yeah.
because like I said, it's my first time doing it. And essentially at least this kind of level where I have a physical release and
Yep.
putting it on digitally and all that stuff. Before that was just like maybe an upload a beat, here or
Yeah. Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't really, I didn't have any kind of, you know
So
um
how was the opportunity presented to for you to be able to put this project out?
so yeah, we kind of were working on this. It was initially called the Itchy and Scratchy EP.
Uh huh.
We kind of shortened it to the Itchy EP. I had some tracks on there that I've been building up over the year. I did a couple features with Seven Octobers,
Uh huh.
with Smalls Uno from Spooky Gang. Um, and yeah, I just starting to build a little catalog of just good beats and stuff. And I essentially kind of mixed them, put a nice little album together that was some good beats that meant a lot to me. And
Yeah.
essentially, I remember I was working on them. A lot of them essentially I was kind of relapsing a little bit with my condition early this year. So like I was in the middle of kind of having to deal with all my skin issues and all my
Yeah.
issues with my asthma and stuff. And on top of that, try to keep refining this record and make it something polished, make it something presentable. And yeah, I was really fortunate to link up with Vocal Cord Records. They were dropping the album September 25th, this Friday.
Yeah.
It's EP.
Were you how did you feel about when you got the opportunity, like what how did Vocord Records, like how did they, because I mean that had to hit you by surprise, right? Were you like, oh shit, like, because that's
Oh
a real,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we talked about it a little bit. We talked about doing like a joint, record and stuff like that. Just because Shrimp Boy, he's going by Low Bias now.
Yeah.
He is just like he's super dope. And I was just fortunate to even know somebody like that who was working with the SP404. And
Yes.
to have that the situation present itself like that. I was just I was over the moon, man.
Yeah.
It's still like it's surreal to me that like it really is. I mean, to
Yeah,
be
because
honest
you
with you.
said it was like what do we say, a year ago, right?
Yeah, maybe about a year
About a
ago.
year ago. Wow, man,
and,
that's a
and
lot
it's just
in a
the
year.
the progression, like especially like T Hop Fest, Thought
Yep.
Fest, um, just things like that. Even early this year,
Yeah, for people who
it
don't
kind
know, Mike was actually talk about graduating. This guy got booked on the Happiness of Pursuit Festival right before it
yeah,
got canceled, unfortunately. But he's still booked, so he'll be on the next one. But
yeah,
yeah, that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal. Arguably the biggest underground hip hop festival in the state.
oh, easily,
Um,
yeah.
and yeah, and you got booked to that.
I mean, Rock Marciano's on the bill,
Yeah,
Sage Francis, dude. Like, I look at it and I just, it's so surreal to, like, I can't believe it. I mean,
yeah.
it puts a huge smile on my face, and I can't believe it. Like,
So
especially
now that
listen,
you're in it, Mike,
yeah,
you're in it, right? Like you're in. I mean, you're in the music business. Here you are. It was something you had dreamt about, something that you thought about. You're in it now. What do you see for yourself? Moving forward, what is it? What's it look like? Is your career starting to show itself more and more to you as you're working on this?
yeah, definitely. It's starting to really unfold kind of before
Yeah.
my eyes. Uh, shout out to Zelly Vibes.
Shout out to
I was
Zelly.
I was listening to some of the some of her interview, and she's just giving such insightful just gems, just a lot of little
Yep.
anecdotes that are applicable, or applicable to artists like myself, or just really anybody who's, an independent artist
Yeah.
in this day and age, especially post COVID. A lot of the people that I saw before COVID, right, aren't persevering through
Right.
COVID now, post
That's
COVID, and
very true. Very
having
true.
to adapt to the times and, change up different strategies. um it's exciting to me, and
Yeah.
it's I can't wait to start really just developing more and dropping more projects. Like
what comes after this project? We got the Itch EP dropping on the 25th. This, by the way, this is we're dropping this on the 25th, right? Is that we decided? Yeah.
Drop,
so if you're
digitally on the
listening to this
25th.
right now, if you're listening to this as this podcast came out, go to platformcollection.com right now. The Itch EP is at the top right there. There's also a link under this podcast. So if you're listening to it, I know some of you guys like to listen to it on iTunes and Spotify. Go to platformcollection.com. You can check out the whole record. It's there. Pick that up. What comes next? What have you already started to think? Have you started to formulate another project in your head yet?
Little bit.
Yeah.
I've been getting really influenced by 7 Octobers, because she's just like on a trailblazing right now.
She is.
That's an understatement. She is just all the cylinders are firing, and
she has so many opportunities that people don't know about yet that are going to blow people's minds.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
We're so fortunate to be involved with something like that, artists like that. But Parker was he was really, really integral in giving me a timetable, just kind of a vision for once the record's released and all that goes into marketing and promoting. So that's going to be the focus for the next couple months, is really just trying to push the record.
Very smart.
Not to oversaturate myself. As much as I would love just to start pumping more and more releases out. But that's I think that's going to be the path. I'm going to really hit the promotion circuit and the marketing.
Any visuals or ideas you want to put with the project?
Yeah, I have a couple of cool ideas. I might be linking up with some directors.
Sick.
Because it's the majority of them are instrumentals. And we're also doing a physical release on cassette. So the physical release is going to have a couple extra little, juicy bits on it.
Okay.
But the digital release is going to be, for the most part, just an instrumental album, minus the small Zuno feature. And we're hoping that with that we could approach a lot of just different directors. It doesn't have to be your traditional music video. We can shoot shorts.
That'd be dope.
It really opens it up creatively. So I'm really excited that.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. You better hit me up. I definitely want to do something. I would love to direct a video for the project.
That'd be fantastic, man.
Dude, I couldn't be more proud of you. You're constantly somebody that I use as an example of how to do this correctly. And a lot of it comes with the fact that, I don't want, as much as you claim we've helped you and all that stuff, I don't want people to take the value away from your journey, though. Like, your journey alone, let's not get it twisted. Mike Mackey put himself in this position. Please understand that. And it's so important for you guys as artists and supporters to understand that the journey of the artist is rarely what you think it is when you first hear their music. It's rarely shout out to the Zelly vibes, right? Me and Mike were just talking about that. And now Mike's story, that there's all, because a lot of you are catching him now. You're catching him as his project's coming out. He's on podcasts. He has shows. You're catching him at that level. But he literally just told you guys that was just a year process. It was just a year ago that he got in. So imagine the amount of work and dedication you had to put in to turn a year ago of being an inexperienced artist into having his debut project dropping at the end of the week. So please understand, there's a lot that goes into that. 24/7, 365. It's got to be in your mind. It's got to be at the front of your mind. I got to keep pushing forward. I got to keep pushing forward. I got to keep pushing forward. And Mike is an example of that. And it's dope that I'm able to give you your flowers right now, right? While it's starting, because now it's time to go get the bag. And guys, if you have a chance to go play this project, go do that. And now the story behind it. It was one of the reasons we really wanted to have him on the podcast, so you can really understand the feelings and emotions that went into this project. And now the backstory. So I know for me, that has always been a way that I've become fans of people. You know, I'll hear their music, but I usually don't become fans until I hear their story. You know, and I think that's why this was important to have Mike on here. Dude, thank you so much, man, for coming through. Thank you for everything you do for us as well. He is my co-host. That I couldn't have Chris Sees the Internet without Mike. I can't even imagine Chris Sees the Internet. Chris would not see the internet without Mike. Put it that way. And me and him have some big plans for that show as well.
Yeah.
So tune into that, dude. We're gonna blow that show up. We got a lot of fun. And we didn't really break the fourth wall. I don't think we did. You know, as long as we don't admit to it, it's not on record, right? So,
yeah, exactly.
Dude, any shout outs, anything you want to say before we go?
Big shout out to Vocal Cord Records for, you know, with the everything with the album. Big shout out to Parker Edison. You know, like I said, his tutelage, everything that he's done has been, you know, instrumental.
And he's the executive producer of the project, right?
Yeah,
this is his first
project.
Yeah, he's super proud of this project too, man. It's the first solo executive produced project that he's putting out with Meridian Arts, so that's amazing.
Big shout out to Kali, you know, obviously with Hip-Hop Weds, you know, the foundation, you know. Big shout out to Platform Collection, you know, everything you guys do. You know, so happy to be brought on board, and you know, just everything that we're doing as an organization. It's beautiful to see, just, you know, all the artists that we're reaching out to, and curating the type of content that we do. It just inspires me every day, you know. You know, I'm just beyond thankful that I'm in the position that I'm at, and you know, never take it for granted. I just want to keep pushing forward, and, you know, like you said, it's time to get the bag, you know. A big shout out to you, man. You know, I love you, dude. I appreciate everything you're doing. You know, I can't, you know, words, you know, it's hard to find the words to
I got you.
My appreciation for you.
Yeah, just buy me weed and we'll call it even.
Everybody at Platform Collection, you know, because we're family here at Platform Collection, you know, we're real
very much so.
You know, we all care about, you know, hip hop and, you know, the type of work that we do. And, you know, a lot of it couldn't be done without, you know, the band leaders. So, you know, a big shout out to you, you know, Chris. I mean, I really appreciate everything you do, dude.
You're welcome, brother. You're welcome. All well deserved, man. I'm looking forward to ending this year very strong with you guys, part of the team, and then looking forward to the future endeavors, man. It's exciting to watch. You know what I mean? So I know if you're a listener, if you're a fan, it's going to be exciting for you to follow this. So please follow Mike Mackey, follow the journey. Again, he's 1 year in, guys. So I'll tell you this. I'm the type of person that if I found Mike Mackey and I just became a fan of his, I'd follow him just for the mere fact that he's only been in for a year, because I'd want to watch how this goes and how to learn from that. And Mike's really transparent with what he learns. I know he's super cool about that. If you guys hit him up, it's Mike Mackey on Instagram. Send him messages, whatever. He'll get back to you. He always will. Especially producers, man. You guys got questions? Check out his show, though. Yeah. He has a show on Platform Collection. It's exclusive to IGTV right now. It's one of our flagship shows that we pushed out very early on. So Mac in My Day is there at Platform Collection. You can go there right now and watch past episodes. They're already out. So if you're a producer looking to get inspired, from what I hear other producers say, it's really inspiring to watch it, because you pick up new little techniques. You pick up, because he's teaching there as well. So again,
he's little tutorials and beat breakdowns and kind of how I achieve the sound. And,
man. So he's given back. He's given back with his tutelage as well. So again, if you just want to hit him up, man, and follow his music, share his music. At the end of the day, that's his biggest, loudest voice. So if you're a supporter, please go do that. Again, if you're listening to this on anywhere podcasts are found, go to platformcollection.com right now, and you'll see it right there. It's going to be all over the website, so you can't miss it. Mike, thank you so much, dude. We're going to do this again. Now that you've been on, you're officially Crappy Awesome alumni. So let's go over the things that the benefits you get in that. So the benefits of being a Crappy Awesome alumni is now anything that you release will be placed on the front page of platformcollection.com for life until you decide it not to happen. And now there's an open door policy for the Crappy Awesome podcast. Anytime you want to come on, talk to your audience, promote stuff, just come on through. And it's an open door policy.
I'm like, I can't believe it, man. Like, it just, I'm over the moon, dude. I really appreciate it so much, dude.
Shout out to you, bro.
Thank you so much, dude.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Guys,
it's everyone too as well.
Yep.
Watching.
It's Mike Mackey, guys. Follow him on everything that he does. Guys, what can I say, dude? Super proud of my dude. Man, I can't say enough about him. He's a guy you should support. We support highly. And then plus the fact the music's just dope. So if you didn't know him at all, the music's just dope. But now you do know him. You can say you know him. Hit him up on his Instagram. Let him know you're supporting it. When you see the project, share it. All that. Guys, we got a bunch of podcasts coming up. Eddie has booked me straight through December like an asshole. So I will be doing podcasts for the rest of the year. But that's good for you guys because you're going to get to hear some amazing conversations like the one I just had with Mike. So tune in. We'll be here always. Guys, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And cover your fucking mouth. All right? We'll talk to you guys later.